Hi, I'm Marla, and this is The Chic Show. Project number 1 is a cutting board. I'm also using these transfers that I ordered from Etsy. I'm going to be using white transfers on the cutting board, and I am going to paint the small cutting board. I believe it was from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it black. I taped the transfer down, and then I removed the backing sheet and rubbed the transfer on with the tool. It is just as simple as that, and this project is complete. Today's video is part of a monthly playlist called What Would You Make?, where we use wood in our projects. It's hosted by Zana at OK at Home DIY, Krista at Krista's Crafty Life, and Connie at Connie's Woodshop and DIYs. I'll have their channels in the playlist listed below. Project number 2, I'm using this scrap piece of wood, 2 Jenga blocks, and a square dowel. The first thing I'm going to do is try and find the center of this piece of wood. My son requested a stand to put his favorite records on as he's playing them, so that's what we're making here. Now I'm going to take the square dowel rod and I'm going to decide exactly where I need to place it, and I'm going to trace around it for placement purposes. I used a record of my own to kind of see how it was going to sit, and so I also placed the 2 Jenga blocks in the front and marked where those would go as well. I'm using Gorilla Wood Glue to glue the 2 Jenga blocks together. While those dry, I'm going to have my husband drill a hole through the square dowel rod as well as the scrap wood piece. Now we're going to attach the 2 with a wood screw. Now that the Jenga blocks are dry, we're going to go ahead and add more wood glue to those to glue them down to the front of the piece. And here's a look at it all put together. Now I'm going to use some wood filler, and I'm going to fill in those cracks between the 2 Jenga blocks as well as a couple of other holes on the scrap wood piece. Now it's time for a coat of Waverly Ink chalk paint. Now that it's all dry, I'm going to be adding a decal across the front. I used my Silhouette Cameo and I cut out the words "Now Playing." I did add Mod Podge across the front. And here's a look at it holding one of my Bing Crosby records. Project number 3 is also by request by my son. He wanted some stands to display some of his autographed collector cards, so I'm in charge of making 13 of them. I'm going to be using 5 of the wood planks from Dollar Tree as well as some of these popsicle sticks that I'm going to glue together to make them just a little bit thicker. Each plank will hold 2 cards. I'm also going to be using some of Dollar Tree's tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to glue 2 of them to each plank. Now that the popsicle sticks are dry, I'm going to be cutting off the rounded edges, and then I'm going to cut them in half. These will provide a lip for the cards to lean up against so that they don't fall over. They're also more low profile than the tumbling tower blocks, so it won't obstruct the view of the name on the card. He also requested that 2 of them be separate because the cards go horizontal, so that left one other one that needed to be a single card holder. So there will be 5 double stands and 3 single stands. For the single stands, I used 2 more of the planks and then just cut them in half. Now all of the stands will get a coat of Waverly ink chalk paint. And here's a look at them all completed. And he sent me a video of them all displayed at his house. Project number 4 is a Mayflowers shelf sitter. This is just a scrap piece of wood, but I'm going to see if I can age it up a bit so it doesn't look so orange. I'm using some of my Waverly ink chalk paint mixed with a little bit of water to make a stain, and I'm going to rub that all over the front, back, and sides. Once I get each side covered, I'm going to wipe it back with a baby wipe. And just a quick reminder, if you like any of these DIYs today, I encourage you to click that thumbs up button and consider subscribing so that my videos and others like them will come across your feed more often. It helps me and it helps you. Now I'm going to cover the entire thing with white wax. It already looks much better. Now I'm going to use my candle wax and I'm going to rub it on pretty generously all over the front of the block. Next step is painting Celery Chalk Paint by Waverly all over the front of the block. Now I'm going to use my scraper while the paint is still wet, and I'm going to scrape it back and it won't stick to the places where the wax was. So this will help give it a chippy look. I'm going to be making some grass for this piece using a piece of ripped drop cloth, and I'm going to paint the drop cloth with Waverly moss. I picked random buttons to be the flowers on this piece, so I'm just trying to find the placement for them. Now I'm using a felt tip black pen to make stems for the flowers. I went back over the stems with a little bit of Fern Chalk Paint by Waverly, and then also a little bit of Waverly White. And now I'm ready to hot glue the buttons onto the stems, as well as the drop cloth grass. And that completes this little project. The last project today are some wood piano keys. I'll be using 7 of these regular size Jenga blocks. I believe that these are from Five Below. And I'll also be using 5 of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. I'm using wood glue to glue the 7 larger blocks together. I used a rubber band to hold them in place until they dried. Next, I painted the tumbling tower blocks with Waverly ink chalk paint. I painted the top and the sides, but not the back. Now the set of larger blocks will get 2 coats of Waverly white chalk paint. Once the set of white blocks are dry, I'm going to use wood glue to glue on the black blocks. You may be able to tell now that it is going to be a piano keyboard. And that is all there is to this simple project. Thanks again to Zana, Krista, and Connie for hosting today's challenge. Be sure and check their channels out in the description box, and don't forget about the playlist. Bye now.